Hello, everybody. My name is Jessica Pena, and I'm going to be talking to you about the strategy known as the flipped classroom. First, let's talk about some background information. The flipped classroom strategy was created by Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams. Both of them have been teachers. Bergman has been a high school science teacher for over 25 years. He also has received the Presidential Award for Excellence in 2002. Aaron Sams has also been a teacher, and he has been a teacher since 2000. And he also received the Presidential Award for Excellence in 2009. So both of these teachers, they sat together and they started observing problems in the classroom, and they started to come up with different ideas of how to resolve these problems. And the story is that Aaron Sams came up with this idea of from reading books and decided let's do something different and let's have the students look at videos at home and have them come in the classroom, and we'll try to help them understand the videos and have them discuss their points of view. And that is how the flipped classroom came to be. Now, what is the flipped classroom? The core idea of the flipped classroom is to flip the common instructional approach. What does that mean? That means the regular approach is you come into the classroom, you teach your lesson, the students take notes, and then they go home, do homework, and that's it. Now, with this flipped classroom, the teacher creates the videos and interactive lessons. And now all the instruction that is supposed to be done in school, the students can access it at home, watching the videos about the lesson in advance of the class. So classroom time now becomes a time for students to learn about what they understand. Maybe get some background information about the lesson with the teachers, or have a nice discussion with each other. And this becomes more student centered than teacher centered. Okay, this is all interesting for a face to face education, but can this be done in an online course? Well, in my research, I found some really interesting strategies that you can use to implement it in an online course. First, a scavenger hunt during the first day of class. Normally, when you start an online course, the teacher will explain to you everything that's going to be found in your platform, where you can access the content of the lesson, where you can participate in the discussion forums, where you have to upload your assignments. Instead, the teacher can give the students like a sort of a scavenger hunt and have them explore and find the answers from themselves. You can also create a hashtag for the course. Now, the question is, if you don't know what is a hashtag, let's take a look at some information about the hashtag. Okay. What is a hashtag? This is an article from Small Biz Trends explaining what exactly is a hashtag. A hashtag is basically a label for content. It helps others who are interested in a certain topic quickly find content on that same topic. So look over here on the next line. We're going to see what exactly a hashtag will look like. You see the symbol for numeral, and then you have the name, marathon bombings, or look at this one over here, hashtag small biz quote. So in an online course, you can design a small hashtag and you can put it in a discussion forum, or use different web tool. For example, really good web tool that you can use is VoiceThreads. You can create a hashtag with your voice, or you can make a hashtag, and the students can record their own voices, and you can use it to talk about a particular topic that you want the student to be discussed. So that can be a really good strategy for an online course. Another strategy that they talked about is a low stakes assignment to encourage self reflection and analysis. A good example would be the assignment that we're working on right now. The teacher gave us some ideas that we can research online and then design a presentation like the one I'm doing right now about the strategy, explain the strategy, and at the same time, you have to reflect on the strategy. What do you understand about it? And if you can really use this strategy in an online course that we are planning to design for our final grade. So this is a good example, and it's a good flipped classroom strategy because this is being led by us. We are the ones who are in charge of preparing this presentation. Okay, as with every online course, there are some pros and cons. So one of one pro from the flipped classroom is that students have more control. Like as I mentioned before, this is a student-centered strategy. So the teachers give the students small lectures at home, and then the students have the freedom to learn at their own pace. This is really good, for example, if you're working an online course and with adults and all of them work or have their families, they don't have all the time to be able to go to school every single day. So this is a good thing to use when you're working in an online course. Also promotes student-centered learning and collaboration. So this is really good. Students feel they're in control. That means they're more motivated because they're in charge of their own learning. And collaboration. I mean, this is really good for them to work together and learn from through each other. It makes learning a lot more exciting, interesting, and permanent. Lessons and content will be more accessible. Right. So let's say a student is sick and they can come to school every day that day. So they can work at home when looking at the videos and preparing the lesson that they missed in school. Also, it can work for students like us who are professionals and we have our jobs and our families, and it helps us to be able to prepare ourselves for class and learn. What are some of the cons? The model can create exacerbate or a digital divide. That means, what if we are in a classroom with students who don't have access to a computer, who don't have access to the internet, or simply don't have time to look for a computer or an internet? Then they're not gonna be prepared for class, and then you're gonna have to play catch up with these students and get them up to date, and that causes waste of time. The other students who are prepared will get bored and it'll be tedious for them because they already know it. It relies on preparation and trust. This is very important. And you have to be able to keep your students motivated and have them interested in wanting to look at the video. And you have to really trust your students and know them very well before you actually implement this strategy. You have to know them and check, observe them and know that these students can be trusted with this assignment. I mean, if it's at home, you don't know if they are going to do the assignment or not. So there's really has to be a lot of trust in both parts, the students and the teachers, to get the job done. Examples of a fifth classroom. Well, I was on my research, I found this really interesting article about a high school in Michigan known as Clintondale High School in my home country. This is the first flipped classroom in the country. This was started 3 years ago, so it's a new school. This is a comment or a quote from the principal of the school. His name is Greg Green. He says students wanted to use technology within the school and within the classroom. And then also, we need to have a more supportive environment because even though parents are really well intended, we know that parents can support that learning process fully at home. So it's very interesting what he said because it's true. Parents work, we have to work to pay the bills and to pay the rent and then to help this kids out. So we're not gonna have all the time in the world to sit down with the child to watch videos. So it's very important that all the parents and the student, the whole entire student body is well equipped and they're prepared to dedicate a bit more time so that the flipped classroom works. How I will implement the strategy in my online course? Well, I will use Edpuzzle, which is a very good web tool. It allows you to assign videos and activities to the students, and you can also use Google Classroom to create a copy of a document for each student. I will also assign a note-taking template and a lot of like Padlet or sticky notes, and the students can use it to take notes about the videos that they are watching. They can also use Google Docs to take notes, and they can interact with the instructional video, and I can easily view student responses to Edpuzzle questions. This is what I like about Google Docs. You can actually access and see how the students did. They'll tell you which questions they answered correctly, how many answered the questions wrong, and how many got it right. So you know what to do next time. If a lot of students got the same question wrong, that means you need to help them a bit more and explain the topic a little more to get them to understand. So it's a really good assessment tool as well. And taking into account what I've researched, I think the best amount of time to make the video will be around 5 to 8 minutes. Any more than 8 minutes, and it's going to start getting boring for the students. My reflection. Well, for me, first of all, I think this method is a very refreshing change to traditional teaching models. So it will be interesting for the students and for us as well to make a different change to how we normally are accustomed to teaching. I also, during my research, I found an interesting article about an event known as FlippedCon. And there were some students from Allen, Texas High School, and they were interviewed about studying in a flipped classroom. So I have here some reflections from the students. First, keep the video short, which is why I mentioned before why I think the best amount of time for a video is 5 to 8 minutes. It's also important to provide context for learning, why it matters, and explain it in a way that has meaning to me before getting into a deep detail. What they want you is before you assign the video to them, or you already have it assigned, but before they go home from school, it's very important to explain to them what is the video about, give them a little context about the video that you are assigning them, and also telling them why it's important to watch it, get them motivated, explain to them the reasons why you're doing this video. Also, before you decide to flip, be sure to help the students know what to expect. Before you were going to decide to implement the flipped classroom strategy, you should explain to them, okay, what is a flipped classroom? What are we going to do in the flipped classroom? What do you have to do at home? Kind of get them understanding the strategy very well. Discuss how to watch the videos. That's important. Let them know, okay, if you want to watch the videos, don't put on music. Don't put on your headphones. Don't look at your phones and chat with your friends. Everything has to be very, very good environment for them to concentrate. In a good environment, be a nice quiet place where they can study in their rooms or in a living room, somewhere where they can be away from distractions. And also explain to them why. Why did you decide to all of a sudden change the way you teach? Why do you want to do the flipped approach? It's very important for the students to understand the reasoning behind it. Okay, and I also have my list of works cited that I used to make my research, my presentation. First, we have the 10 pros and cons of a flipped classroom. Can you flip an online course? Flip Your Classroom, which is the book that the creators of this strategy used, which is right here. It was made in 2012. I also used Hertz, an article about the flipped classroom pro and con. This was taken from Utopia, and I also have another article by Tucker and it's a flipped classroom, which was retrieved from Education Next. So thank you, everybody, and this is my video, and I hope you enjoy it and learn a lot about this strategy.